and want to recap with last week's video, just a short clip of it, just to show where I left off.
Didn't. Once option volume ran out, once this is caused by options, once it ran out, it completely rebounded right back. So that means there are no sellers left in this stock, and it will go much higher.
Okay, so left off with Apple, there are no more sellers left. It will go much higher. And so this is Friday on this dark blue area. This is a pre-market, post-market. And so Apple was in 383 area, so there are no more sellers left, and it gapped up. And an indication of that is the same thing. They're just no one willing to sell the stock, and it went up as high as 391 and a half area. And so that's when you got to watch out. Just a quick side note, when people talk about, oh, we need to see volume as a confirmation in this and that, be careful of what reality is, though. I don't want to step on anyone's toes here in their beliefs, but Apple went from 383 to 387 on 0 shares. So just careful kind of how you go about volume. I don't really, unless it's super heavy, I don't really pay attention to it because, a stock Apple can go to 500 on 1 share. So with that said, so that's about as far as I was right on as far as running out of sellers. And then, so here's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday on. And let me go to the open interest chart that we got. And so I started off saying this was Monday, should have been Monday, that the 370 puts was the highest open interest. They didn't have too much on it because it was still Monday, so they were from Friday. I'd stick with those. I wouldn't really stick too much at the time with the 390s because I didn't think there was any sellers, so the stock would go higher. And then at on that Tuesday at 11 in the morning, you just saw that the 390, you saw the options market, like this didn't last long. There's no sellers part did not last long. So, and then you can read the rest of this. So 390 is your highest open interest. And let's see where just a brick wall was all week in Apple. And so we have here Monday, we got 391 and a half it tops out at, and for the most part 389, 390 we'll call it. Same thing again here. Pops up 391, high 391, back to 389, 388. Same thing here. Tries to get up 392 in the pre-market. Pre-market's easy to take down, and bada bing, bada boom, they gave way. One thing, there's two different things. It depends what you believe in, and I believe in both, is when these close down, that creates selling pressure. So that's not necessarily manipulation. It's just the stock is being artificially moved because of options. Not necessarily anyone's manipulating it. It's just if options weren't involved, that selling pressure would have never been there. So put it that way. Or there's the case where whoever is short these, because say you were short these, where do you want the stock? Do you want it to be over here where it costs you money, or do you want it to be here? And if you carry the power to make it be in here, I think you certainly will. And so anytime during the week when I say these are going to close down and create selling pressure, you're not going to close these. If it's on a Monday, Tuesday, you still have plenty of time for it to go to 395 or even a few bucks higher. You aren't going to close this out. You're only going to see selling pressure come, Thursday or Friday, definitely from these. And so when you have, like we had here, just straight up bounced right off that 390, bounced again on that Tuesday, that's when I come back to it's being manipulated. Somebody is knocking the stock down. It does not want over this area, some commercial money, or just everybody combined, because these are, a cumulative position, so they want it below it. And so this is where just the manipulation theory comes in because these definitely weren't being closed down because these were up this high all week. So you know for sure these were not being closed down. Um, it was being knocked from this 390 area, not because options closing down for some other reason. There really is no other reason than commercial money selling. So as you can see here, 390 and then down, down, down she went. Hopping back over to the general topic that I'm, trying to encompass a lot of people. Once you get up to this area, it's kind of a good time to sell. I messed up a little bit on this portfolio model. I've been waiting to sell covered calls, and I thought about it. I was like, you know what? I need to sell them all right here, and I didn't. I should have. I knew I should have, but I didn't. But whenever you get up around this area, it's a good time to sell. Whenever you get down here, it's a good time to buy for a long strategy. Now let's skip over to today. So it just knocked it down, and then it was in the what is that? The 380 range, knocked it down there in there perfect 375, and then let's go to today. We'll do a 3-minute chart, and why? So you have the 375 is the highest open interest on the put side, and it expired within $1 of it. Close enough for government work, and this is another reason why I do not use max pain. If it an exact strike, if it closed at 385, that's fine. It's not what I'm looking for though. I want to use in reality as far as trading range. This is good for like academia and stuff like that, but actual trading, what are we looking at here? Because you can't get anything perfect because there's so many things that come up, including all this, economic data and headline news and whatnot. So the 375, it closed within $1 of it, which close enough. But why, when it came down to this 370 area, when it was at 371, why did it get sucked back up? Because these, either somebody wanted it to close up in this area, or I think in this case it was these options closing down. There's nothing not like last week where where you could fully see it in the volume, where you could fully see the rebound. Nothing strikes me too crazy, but you can kind of watch, if you always just want to keep the same on a 3-minute chart. You have here at 11:30, volume starts to pick up, on a 3-minute interval. So we'll go to 11:30 here. Somewhat flatlines, and then nothing happens. And then you have at 2:03, the volume picks up again, and then goes pretty constant. Besides the open here, it's kind of iffy, but it goes pretty constant because anyone still long those puts has to close up, and so that's why you kind of carried the volume the whole way. And so at 12:03, let's go to 12:03. You kind of basically 12:03 pretty much have your bottom mark. These started to close up and it rebounded higher. It didn't have enough push to close above. I'm not going to really nitpick of why it didn't close above. I really don't know. But at least this theory is a lot closer than anything else, out there. As you can see, and then check the scorecard, and I'll just keep running tabs. Here I was saying, I put up the 98% range because that's the only one that I felt confident in. And turned out that you just needed that range because when volatility picks up, you need a big range, even though you may not like it. Like say Apple's, sitting right here, and Apple's sitting right here like it did, opened up at 390, and I say 370. Well, that's a huge range. Well, guess what? Needed it. When you have volatility, your ranges are going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. When you have low volatility, you can have smaller ranges. So that's why I recommended just don't play the highest open interest for now. Leave yourself some room. Nothing wrong with it. If you would have went here, you're perfectly fine. Selling credit out here. Here, you're probably okay because you probably got a decent amount, but